This is Bonus Business, a Ko-fi subscriber exclusive episode where we go into more detail, reflect upon the episode we just did, and genuinely realize that we had no idea what we were doing during the full episode of Scripty Business. This happens every week over on our Ko-fi platform. If you subscribe there, you can access every episode of these that we do. But this week, we thought we'd put it out there to the masses to check out our thoughts and feelings about what the hell we got up to in Best in Show.
Oh my god.
That was actually great.
It's actually really good. They always are.
That ending gave me chills. It was bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Way bigger.
Like, way bigger.
Especially from where it started.
Oh my god. Okay, so when you were like robots, I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? This is like mind-blowing to me. I was like not expecting them to be robots. And then I was like, oh no, okay, I can solve this. The person who made version 1 and version 2, Jerry and Xena, lives as a recluse in the middle of the forest because he gave up on technology. That's where I was going.
I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, but the reason it went sideways is because you were like, and they come into a clearing where there's like a shrine and a guardian, and I was like, oh no.
But they could have totally been like the guardian could be protecting the forest from a human, like a human that lives on the edge of the forest and is using their resources and sending robots in. Didn't have to be God for God.
No.
That's why I was confused when you're like, it's the moon. I was like, oh. And you're like, my brother and his things. I was like, okay, sure.
Well, we made it big.
We made it work.
No, I thought it was just going to be like the robot scientist lived in the middle of the forest in a house. As in like the maker. So the maker of them was just a robotic scientist who lived in a house in the middle of the forest. That's where I was going.
Gotcha. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Would have worked.
Yeah.
Not where we went, but it would have worked.
And then you were like, oh, shrine and deity. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh no, we're in Godland now.
I was
so
locked into like Spirited Away and Studio Ghibli and like all that sort of stuff that I was like, I really want like the Japanese demons and ghosts and spirits and shrines and all that sort of stuff. I really wanted that to be like a part of it, like to be involved.
Totally.
And I couldn't, like, as soon as I was thinking meadow and we did all this forest stuff, I was like, cool. The center of the forest, like the grove, when it was like, I need to find, the magic happens in the middle of the forest. I was like, cool, that's a fucking huge meadow protected from the elements, you know, and it was like blizzards and all this sort of stuff, not in the meadow. So that's what I was like, okay, there's going to be a shrine. There's got to be a way to summon and speak to the forest. Otherwise, we've got these guardians of the forest and the defenders of the forest and all that sort of stuff, but there's no real connection to them. They're just there.
Totally.
So it's
I
like,
just
how
didn't
do
know
I
where to go? The bit that derailed me, and I was like, I think that's why I went so weird with it. I was like, in my mind, I was like, the people who made the robots was at the center, right? And then it was like spirit deity, and I was like, oh, I don't know how the natural world spirit deity helped this robotic dog / and or why the natural spirit deities were the ones that created these robots in the first place. And I was like, I actually don't know how to reconcile that plot line.
Because it could have been really cool. You could have had, if you got in quick enough, the maker was in the meadow in the middle of the forest. When Arla said that's where the magic happens, it's like that's where like
the magic,
robots were created. And then the defenders of the forest and all that sort of stuff, they're locked out of the meadow because of the presence of the maker.
That would have been really cool. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have made a lot more sense. than the moon speaking through a telescope.
I'm sorry, that's just where my mind went.
Hey,
man.
don't apologize.
You were like,
never apologize.
You were like, it's a mansion, and I was like, oh, okay, the robot people live in a mansion, and I was like, I don't know where to go with this, and then you were like, it's an observatory, and I was like, oh no. Like I had that own moment myself where I was like, oh no,
what have we done?
This is not going to end well because I know what my next thought is, and I don't have a replacement thought because my brain is locked in so hard on that.
Yeah. No, I get it. As soon as the fucking movie started, you're like, and the suitcase pops open and the dog was in it. And I was like, what the fuck? So the suitcase just been dropped off like a cliff in a snowy trek and there's a dog in it and it's just broken its arm. It's like, why was the dog in the suitcase? Like you put so many challenges in front of me at that point that I just did not know where to go with it, and thank fuck our curveball was forbidden tech, because as soon as it was like forbidden technology, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, this is like advanced robotics and AI, and this is forbidden because of the dangers of that, self-reproducing, whatever else. Like this works out.
I was playing a bit more in like a Paddington space, like the dog was like put in the suitcase probably because they stole it or something, and then it fell out their hands and would have like bounced down the rocks. And I know that probably in real life would have killed the dog, but in this world, it just would have
She got there quicker. Should have said.
That's just where my head was at. But I couldn't like come in. I didn't like, that's not how we operate on the show. We can't just come in and be like, hey, so I'm thinking Paddington, and it's kind of goofy, and it's like, no, we're in the scene. You're just like, I have to play that as the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
and that's the fun though, man.
Well, I don't know where the fuck that move would have gone if they, because again, I think the big thing for me was that its owners were traveling across the countryside and learned that they were better off without him, which was meant to be like a morbid thing initially when I came up with that part of the log line, was like, oh, this is actually really sad because like they're fighting because of the dog, like how some divorces happen, they're fighting because of the child and everything else.
Yeah.
So when it's like the dog goes missing, I was like, oh, and then they learn like that they're better off without the dog. That was meant to be more like, Harry and the Hendersons kind of ending where he comes back like, get out of here, go, but not like sad because they actually are like, fuck off. We don't want you in our life anymore. Legitimate now. So then when it was like, oh, fuck, robots, I was like, oh, they're robots too.
That was really fucking, I was not expecting that. I was just not expecting that from you.
I don't know what point we announced they were robots except for version 2. Like if it wasn't for version 1, I wouldn't have made you.
I reckon the seed came into your head when I was like, oh, his eyes turned into dollar signs.
That's right.
And you were like, wait, he's a robot? And I was like, no, it's just animated. Like
I forgot. But again, like we said it was animated, but we didn't lean into the...
No, we never came back to that. Like, yeah.
Not really, no. So it's like for all of a sudden for them to have dollar sign eyes, it was like, I could only take that literally. Like I couldn't look at that as like, it's a cartoon, and their eyes, like none of that. I was like, no, you've said it now. And that's the way I've interpreted it for what we've done so far. So I'm going to have to keep interpreting it that way. Which is definitely a fun part of doing the show like we do is the fact that you're like, yes, and.
Yeah, you just kind of stuck with it. It was like when you were like, wait, the dog's talking. It's like, we have to now. Like, it's all voiceover. Okay.
I went out of my way to keep it incredibly vague from that point on if he was actually talking to anyone or not.
Yeah.
Except for the god of the forest. It's like, now we're in this spiritual time is frozen, a bit loose here.
There was a scene I didn't get to do that I really wanted to do.
You said that. You're like, early on, you said there was a thing you really wanted to do with his mouth. Because I was like, their mouths don't move when they talk. And you're like, oh, okay, well, there's something I'm going to do with that later on.
Oh, yeah, I was going to have the pivotal scene at the end of the movie, him speak. Like,
like Planet, Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, it was kind of like, if there was like a gunshot or something, he'd be like, no, don't. And they'd all be like, wait, what? And that would be like the pivotal moment. Because the one time he spoke, and it turned out he could like speak the whole time. No, there was a scene I wanted to do in the forest where like there's like a crossing. There's like a crevice or a trench or something, and Arlo just like rockets. He just goes across and lands, and then goes and like beckons Yeti, and Yeti's like, "No way, man!" He's like, "No way!" And he has to like run and jump, and then he like only just hits the ledge, and he kind of starts falling, and Arlo grabs him and drags him up.
I like that. I was gonna say like you could do that as Arlo extending across the crevasse and like being a
That's
bridge.
Also really fun.
But I think it would be better watching the struggles of nature versus machine. And that was another thing that I was gonna try and like at some point in that film about Arlo wanting to be a dog, like Pinocchio style. Like
that's what I was trying to lean into with the Spirit Guardian, but I just didn't communicate it.
It's hard.
It's so hard to be like, can you just jump into my brain for a second? Like every now and then we have to do it to be like, hey, he says that, and I'm going to jump into the other character. They say that, and then he says that, and now you're back in because I needed those 3 lines.
I think, do you know what would be fun for us to do is we've talked about this before in the live show, having a whiteboard and almost using that to communicate as well. So for that,
Just a real boy on the bottom.
Pinocchio. Yeah, he's right, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And then the other looking at the ball, like,
It's all
he's
about
now
lies.
a puppet. He's got strings. Yeah. There's a cricket on his shoulder, and you've been like, fuck.
I mean, Yeti was the Jiminy Cricket
Yeah.
of this. So.
Also, Cockadoodle and doing
You know
the
what?
news.
I think that's where the dollar signs came from, because we would talk, like, that was just such a weird moment.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, cool. We're in, like, 50s animated, like, eyeballs popping out of heads land.
It's hard for this because we joke, and then it's like, well, fuck, that's canon now. And we
Yeah,
did
'cause
that.
we have to take the jokes
We did that a lot through this episode. So as soon as you were like, it's a newsreader fucking rooster, it's like, okie doke, sure is.
Yeah, okie doke.
It's got to be done. So yeah, we need a signal to be like, this isn't canon, but can you imagine?
It's kind of funny, though.
Oh man, yeah, but it would have been a lot easier if we didn't. It introduced problems that we didn't end up facing.
That's
Thankfully,
true.
that the
That's very
roosters
true.
could talk.
Yeah.
And like, why are there 3 roosters in this cave talking?
had to hand
There's a
wave
we had to
it.
hand wave it. Yeah, we made more problems for ourselves by joking around with it. Which, yeah, right, is part of the charm and part of the struggles that we have to face. I'm really happy with how we used the words in the end this time around.
What was the middle word? Because
Meadow. Hence why it was
Oh,
a big
hence
ass
why it was a
meadows in the
meadow.
middle.
that one blanked out of my head, and I was like, I don't know what this word is.
Because suitcase you used straight away, whistle we ended up incorporating really
circles,
well,
yeah,
and then
good job.
snapping the whistle. I was like, that's a really good thing to hang on to. And again, Forbidden Tech, I thought it was a real fun thing of them. Like, we can't let him get out, we can't let him be free. That's a risk to us. It's like, and then playing around with, like I said in the episode, where it's like, you know, the maker made one, who made one, and then he made another one, and he's iterating, and at any point, any of these could make more as well. So it turns into this exponential growth of machine, which is why it's forbidden technology.
Do you know what I'm really curious about, which we just don't have time to go into, but it's going to kind of live in my head for a little bit, is when in the timeline Jerry made Arlo? Because I feel like that's really important to the context of the whole movie. Like, did he make Arlo and then make Xena, or did he make Xena then made
Xena
Arlo?
then Arlo.
Because we didn't clarify.
Well, yeah, we did. He's version 3 and Xena was version 2.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That was in...
Because he was
canon.
Because he's like my perfect son, right? Which is also kind of like a massive insult to Xena.
Yeah, but she's also a robot, so she's not going to take it. You know
But
what I
they
mean?
seem to have emotions.
I think what it was that they worked on Arlo together is the way I look at it.
You did say that.
Because
That's
she's
ringing a
more
bell.
programming and he's more machining. So he machined her into existence, and then she's the programming side of things, which made Arlo, which made the birds, which made the rats and the rabbits and the snakes and all the rest.
Do you know
of
what have been... like, if I could change one thing in this film, the only thing I think I would change...
it? Really?
There's so much. But like, in terms of like minor changes, keeping the story as it is,
Yeah.
is I would have made the moon make Jerry and Xena. So they were both
Adam and
made at
Eve.
the same time, because it erases some complex... Adam and Eve, exactly. Erases some of the complexes of, well, if he's only good at machinery and he made her and then she became brilliant at programming, where did that emerge from? Because there was no software for him to upload into her in the first place.
The way I saw it is that she's version 2, right? So it's like he's improved upon himself with that.
Right, but he still lacks the knowledge to like build that part.
100%, but it doesn't mean that like she couldn't have installed programs and worked on that and has the knowledge on how to do it on other things, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, 2 people that can't cook can have a baby that can learn how to cook. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I kind of sort of see it that way, that like he's created this better version of himself as Xena, and she has learned how to do the programming side of things. So when they make something together, it doesn't only have Jerry's makeup, his DNA in it, it's also got Xena's. And that's why Arlo was meant to be the perfect creation. But it wasn't in their eyes. And they
That's
kept
probably
iterating.
why the robots and the rabbits and stuff were inferior, because I don't know if she strictly
did it.
evolved.
Yeah. I think that Arlo, they chalked as a loss, potentially. We said that, actually, no, because she was like, why don't we stop? And he's like, version 4 will be better. So we never saw the breakdown of their relationship, actually. That's something that I would like to change.
Yeah, definitely.
In hindsight.
We saw tension at the start, but we didn't have a crisis point for that.
No. But I think the crisis point should have happened before the story. Flashback, almost.
Well, I was leaning that way, and we didn't get there. But
between version 4, and then that's why they have their own robots after Arlo.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
And they're each using their own robots to find Arlo.
And I think she
work.
should have had another thing that had robots in it that were different. So say like the birds were his, but the rabbits and the snakes were hers. And then utilizing that would have been really cool. I had that thought, and I had that, but we misaligned. In the championship scene where I was like, she was like, it's time to do it. And I was like, come on, please take the bait to be like, no, I'm not letting anyone see it. And 'cause that's where the relationship would have broken apart. That's what I was trying to feed there. But you were like, yeah, okay. And they kind of aligned in that moment, which is interesting. I actually think that's quite interesting.
It was almost a bit of both, because the argument was not this one. He's not right. The next one could be. So Xena could have been like, no, he is perfect. There was a point that you could have.
You're right.
You
and
could
I definitely
have
dropped
pushed.
that. They could have broken.
But
apart
I think that version Jerry's argument made too much sense for Xena as the character.
Yeah.
And because you were embodying that,
you
wouldn't have been like, oh, I need to fight this because it's going to cause this to happen. It was like, yeah, no, that makes sense to Xena. Like, okay, we'll make one together. Like, we'll make another one, whatever else that adds up.
And he kind of agreed in a way. He was like, but he still put Arlo on the dog show.
Yeah, it was like, this is making us money and he's doing well. The next one will be better because he's not quite there.
Okay, so if the god of robots, because I think there's like different gods,
Sure.
like god of nature, god of
Why not?
industry or whatever.
Maybe it's got to create like god of creation or god of like machine.
But nature creates, so like that's an overlap.
That's true.
So it's like the god of nature, or it's like the god of animals, I guess, and then there's like a different.
Why just call it the god of the forest and the god of
Machines is fine.
Machines,
Like
yeah.
if it wasn't the moon and it was instead exiled to the moon, what would it be?
a giant robotic owl.
An owl.
Yeah, like the old clockwork owls that you see from like
So is that
fucking Merlin and stuff like that.
is that like a
Archimedes.
sentimental call to his brother to be like, I've made a machine after your kind.
I think
This is
so.
your domain, and it's kind of like a fuck you.
Well, I think it also
like-
could. I think it also could tie down to the fact that these gods were brothers, and there was a conscious choice made to go the machining route. So maybe the god was an owl to start with, because that's another thing. Is I'd initially saw, right, when I said your version 2 and I'm version 1, I kind of initially saw that almost to be cyborg like, where he had enhanced himself as version 1 and enhanced her as version 2.
So they were people first.
Potentially.
Oh,
I
interesting.
hadn't really coalesced on what that was. So potentially that's what the god of machines was, where it was in nature with his brother, and his brother was doing all the forest and the rest of it, and he kind of like figured out like, oh, I can combine, like I can make cogs and I can create using the ores
So he
from
kind
the
of
ground.
transcended flesh in a way. He made himself.
Yeah, or the opposite, because the other god is like spiritual of the forest, and he's spiritual, and he's given himself a mechanical, physical body, like
now he's
existence. Yeah, not even mortal, but he's on the physical plane. You get what I mean? Like, he's constructed a vessel of gears and mechanics to be a part of the world and tamper with the forest in a way that his brother can't, because his brother is
stuck in a different plane of
spiritual.
existence.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Which also adds then like
It also
why
makes why he's exiled.
to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then he can't physically touch the forest.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
It's
sense.
kind of fun.
That's really cool.
So many things we could have done with this. It's a lot of justification we're doing right now.
But that's good. I actually think that's what this part is about.
Yeah, it's
It's about teaming
making
up
sense of
and
everything.
asking each other questions and being like, hey, what would you do different?
Yeah, and then I think instead of doing it on the moon, I would have done it where they get to the observatory and there's a giant fuck-off machine. Like, the entire observatory is hollowed out, and it's just
was
like
thinking
a
underground.
robot torso that can't leave the observatory almost thing. And
That's
he
cool.
made the machines that's going in. And it could have also been like they turn him back on. Like they turned him off to get out. And they go back to the observatory to turn him on to ask for advice.
Do you know what my original thought was before you said observatory? You like scan the room. I was like, oh, he's gonna like unlock a thing, and the floor's gonna go down, and they're gonna go down into a deep like subterranean
Would also work
layer because then that's really different from the forest. And then I was thinking like a machine god that had been severed at the waist or whatever. That had been like up on a rack, like this giant skyscraper sized dude.
That would be rad.
Who's just stuck down there, like melded into the wall.
Yeah. But then I said observatory.
I went, cool, it's the moon.
Telescope, moon. All right. I got something for you.
Well, I said I didn't like it first. I prefaced.
Fuck. Yay. Well, you know what? In future, just because we set something in an observatory, I think this is a fair rule for both of us to acknowledge and the listeners to be aware of for future episodes. Just because I set it up as a mansion or an observatory doesn't mean you can't be like, they go in and it turns out it's a fucking McDonald's. It's a fake front. They're in a restaurant now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't feel like we
course.
need to, as long as we can justify and logic it, then it's fair
That's a
play.
good shout. I
I think
I was just on the panic train.
Which is fair, which is incredibly fair. But I think if you have something and then I go, now it's at a lake, and you're like, yes, and then there's a fucking fake mushroom next to the lake, and they push it, and it opens a staircase underground. It's that D&D thing of like, if you're DMing and then the players go, well, I want to go left instead of right, and you go, yeah, and you go left, and that takes you to a tunnel, and you go down the tunnel, and it pops out exactly where I wanted you to come out anyway, but I'm not going to tell you that as the players. You think you've made your mind up. You haven't. You've still given me the result I need. I think that's how we play it.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially because we're going to lose cool ideas that we both love. We just couldn't communicate. Because if you had done that, I'd have lost my shit. I'd have lost my fucking shit. Because it's exactly how I pictured it myself.
Yeah.
And it would have thrown me. It's like, and then they go down. I'm like, oh. Down, underground, and then there's a giant fucking robot, severed body, torso. I'm like, yes! It's not an owl, but it's still basically what I saw.
So you did the same thing with Samuel Jackson. As soon as the Yeti popped up, I was like, that's probably voiced by Samuel Jackson. And I was like,
shut the fuck up.
Nah, I'll just leave it. I was like, we don't need to go there. And then you were like, Samuel Jackson. I was like, lol, we had the exact same thought.
Oh my god. Fun times.